also look at what is required after a student qualifies for AEM. This will also serve as a preview of our upcoming webinars. Under federal law, if a student qualifies for AEM, LEAs must provide AEM in a timely manner, which means at the same time as it is provided to their peers, AEM in an accessible and usable format, which means an accessible format is an alternative manner or form that gives an eligible person access to the work when the copy or phonorecord in the accessible format is used exclusively by the eligible person to permit the person to have access as feasibly and comfortably as a person without such disability. Again, that's that key point there, to have access as feasibly and comfortably as a person without such disability. And I know Jane talked about some of those accessible formats, and that really will be the focus of webinar number 2. Again, this information can be found on the link provided to the updated AEM bulletin. What else is required under federal law when an individual has a need for AEM? Well, we also need to provide the instruction for access and use by the learner, and also training for staff and families. So as we go through this, and we've already talked about the accessible format, now we talk about how do we request and acquire. We know now that the student has a need for AEM. We've gone through and which will be the focus of webinar 2 in terms of how do you determine what type of AEM is needed. Once you've gotten through that, then we have to request and acquire AEM, and this will be the focus of webinar number 3. But in terms of for school districts, kind of as an overview for you, school districts can acquire AEM through nonprofit accessible media producers. That acronym is AMPS, and they operate in the United States under a copyright exemption and are able to make books available to individuals with print disabilities. Districts can also acquire AEM through the Wisconsin AEM Center or the Wisconsin Center for the Blind and Visually Impaired AEM Center. And when districts contact the Wisconsin AEM Center or the WCBVI AEM Center, they partner directly with the NIMAC. They are state coordinators to obtain the materials from the NIMAC, which stands for the National Instructional Materials Accessibility Center. Or districts can acquire materials directly from publishers. So we'll walk through each of these. So we talked about those AMPs, the accessible media producers. Those would be Bookshare, Learning Ally, and Louis Database. Again, this will be the focus of webinar number 3. So just as a very brief overview, Bookshare has well over 1 million titles. They range from textbooks to New York Times bestsellers, a huge variety of titles in there. The books are typically going to be a computer text-generated voice. Bookshare is free to school districts. It is free to individuals that have a documented need for AEM. And what's really lovely is if an individual has a Bookshare account and they continue on to post-secondary education upon graduation, that Bookshare, that account will follow them and also remain free. So again, school districts can partner directly, create a Bookshare account, and then teachers can get their accounts under their district account, as well as students can get accounts under the district account. However, we highly encourage, especially in those secondary years, that we have individuals create their own Bookshare account to ensure that that follows and stays with them. In addition, there's Learning Ally, which is very similar to Bookshare. The biggest difference being that those are human narrated books. And again, in webinar 3, we'll go over these in more detail and talk about when you may want to use Bookshare, why you might want to use Learning Ally, how to know. Learning Ally, though, there is a cost associated with that. And then we have Louis Database, and that is typically for your Braille and large print materials. Then we get into our Wisconsin AEM support centers. So the Wisconsin AEM Center is a point of contact for educators seeking that technical support in acquiring AEM for learners who require access to age or grade level standard printed text in a format that is accessible to address their disability-related needs. Again, so for an example, if you have a title that you're looking for and cannot find it in Bookshare, or if you're utilizing Learning Ally, you can reach out to our AEM Center And Donna Hudson is the contact there, and the link provided on the screen will take you directly to the website. You'll fill out the request, and then Donna can make that request on your behalf and get the file for you. So again, that would be an example of when you might use the Wisconsin AEM Center. In addition, if you just have questions and need some type of support, certainly reach out to us there. For the Accessible Education Material Center for the Wisconsin Center for the Blind and Visually Impaired, that AEM Center is part of the outreach program at WCBVI. AEM services are available to public, private, and home schools and agencies providing educational programs for PK through 12th grade children and students who are blind or visually impaired. Again, if you have questions around Braille, large print, that would be your point of contact for those resources. The next two slides are the IDEA required AIM assurances for IDEA funds. We will not spend time in this webinar going over this, but wanted to put those there simply for your reference for your districts. Again, these are for when you're purchasing your instructional materials, what the assurances are. And if you have additional questions on that, you can certainly reach out to the Wisconsin AIM Center and we can follow up with that. So as a preview, I keep talking about our upcoming AIM webinars, which we're really excited about. Our next AIM webinar is scheduled for December 12th from 4 to 5 p.m. The presenters include Kathy White and Amy Snow, and the focus of that webinar will be how do you determine what type of AIM is needed for the most common areas of needs. Lastly, we will look at AIM resources to assist IEP teams. Again, the webinars are listed here and the registration links are provided. So in addition to webinar number 2, which we just discussed, we also have webinar number 3, which will take place on January 31st from 4 to 5 p.m. And that will focus on how to acquire and use materials in your system when you are providing AIM. So again, really getting into the Bookshare, Learning Ally, and looking at it from a systems level. And then on March 1st, we have our 4th AIM webinar, and that will focus on how to monitor progress using AIM. And then as a reminder, we do have a lot of AIM resources developed. And when I say we, I'm saying on behalf of the Department of Public Instruction. First, we have our AT Forward, and that link is provided to you. And the AT Forward provides a community of practice around assistive technology. There are many benefits to joining, and one of those benefits includes micro-credentialing, which is free, and there is actually a micro-credentials that centers on AIM. So for extended learning on this topic, I would strongly encourage you to visit that website. In addition, we have our AT Forward video resource guide, and that houses all of our COP meetings that have been recorded, and it houses the video clips from those and has been broken down by topic. So there's actually been several AIM presentations done and recordings. And so you can click on that and it'll take you right to those resources. In addition, the DPI updated bulletin, which I keep referencing, that link has been provided. And very exciting, we are bringing the AIM decision tree as well as an AIM Next Steps guidance document. And both of those should be published in December, and we're looking forward to that. They will be published on an AIM website, which can be found underneath the Assistive Technology main page. So we're excited about that launching in December as well. And lastly, you'll see the link to the Wisconsin AIM Center. Again, if you have any questions or need any support, please feel free to reach out to us. We want to thank you again for attending our webinar tonight on AIM, and we look forward to seeing you at webinar number 2. Again, that focus will be on how do you determine what type of AIM is needed. Thank you.